Hey, what's up, it's Jack, and this is just going to be a quick video where I detail my thoughts on the best intermediate method to reach sub 1, which is a very common goal for free blind and a pretty awesome one to get at that. The main, I guess, methods that are kind of circulating around are like M2, Turbo. I haven't heard that much of it recently, but I'll mention it. Orozco and Eco, especially recently. So yeah, first of all, the one I recommend the most is to use M2 and Old Pockman. So that combination to reach sub 1. The reason being is that while it's like deceptively simple, it's like really fast and also really easy to get up to like an automatic stage, which is pretty much a goal for like methods in general, at least from my perspective. For example, the reason why I'm able to execute really fast and freestyle methods is because once you've learned all the algs, freestyle in itself is actually very simple. It's just commutator, 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 commutator. Of course, learning all those like massive like piles of algs took a while, but in the actual solve itself, what I think about is actually pretty straightforward. And M2 is kind of like that as well. I mean, there are setups to like, you know, M2 obviously, but they're like really straightforward. You can kind of think of the whole setup and the alg as like an algorithm itself. And getting up to the automatic stage, I believe, is easier than all of the other methods on the list pretty much. And that's why I recommend it the most. Same for OP. The other methods, Orozco, this requires a bit more thinking in that you have to perform, I believe, the inverse. You have to, first of all, you have to memorize like 20 algs plus the inverses, so kind of like 40. So, and they're not as, I guess, intuitive as the type of, I want to call like the setups to M2 like algs, like as a whole for M2. They're not as easy to learn as M2. And I think even if you do that, it's kind of as if you have like a special case for every single letter pair rather than just a couple, because you have to perform the inverse for the first letter of like every single pair pretty much. So yeah, there's a bit of extra thinking involved there. And I mean, like, while it's definitely more useful for, I guess, the corners than the edges. Like, I think Orozco is sort of a more similar speed to M2 for edges. Like, since you can reach sub 1 with, like, M2 OP, which is simpler, and you can focus more on, like, the memory review aspect, then it's not really necessary. Plus, with, like, methods, all the other methods, pretty much, I feel like the time you spend maybe getting used to, like, for example, setups and stuff, not so much for Orozco, but maybe the other ones. Although Orozco, you have to think about the inverse for every single pair. That's going to take away from the time you spend focusing on the more memo and recall aspects, which are like really important. And I mean, while it may be theoretically faster if you can perform everything effortlessly, working up to that stage is it's not so easy. And like I said before, it's not really necessary for sub 1. And I think that's even more applicable to the other methods. So going on to Turbo and Eco, these methods require like, I guess, setups to all the cases, and that's just like an additional train of thought you need for like every pair. Orozco you can kind of, I guess, automate a bit quicker, but I mean, like, there's a lot of cases for Turbo and Eco, and I don't think there's any, I guess, logical sense in like, I guess, working up to a stage where you can do all these setups and stuff like automatically. And you have to learn like, actually Turbo you only have to learn like a couple of algs. Eco you have to learn like Orozco, but I believe without the inverses. But I don't think you can really automate the setup process, and it's not really practical to work up to a stage where you can sort of automate the process in your head without thinking about it on the fly. And if you do think about it on the fly, then it once again takes away from the memo and review parts, which you should really be focusing on more so. And yeah, like I said before, once again, M2 Old Pockman is enough to reach sub 1, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, overall, I just recommend you not to learn these other intermediate methods because they're not necessary for sub 1. Another thing I've heard brought up is the fact that stuff like Orozco and Eco, they can use like the better buffers, but buffers don't like matter like at all unless you use freestyle, and even in that case, they don't matter too much as well. It's more so now that they have better resources from them because they're used a lot. I mean, technically maybe a bit faster, but outside of freestyle, they're not really relevant. And if you do want to learn freestyle, you can just switch when you learn freestyle. There's no need to learn it earlier. There's no benefit pretty much. Yeah, that's about it. Catch you later.